can also, I've tried to explain a little bit what LDI is, but you can also, you know, let people know about CODA and stuff like that.
Thanks, Mrs. I can only say in my own defense, since it's been pointed out, at my age I can't remember all of it. but I can talk somewhat about LDI. So LDI was formed at the end of 1999, and to bring us up to current data, as Mason said, we're one of the top 5 dealers for Canon in the United States, and #1 in production. And probably right up there, #1 in color as well, which are 2 areas that we have had extreme success in. But our growth is, unlike a lot of of our contemporaries, our other dealer friends, has been 98% organic. We started LDI from scratch. We started with no customers, and just a real solid team who continue to be retained by us and growing, and are still very much excited by the business. One of the unique startups that we did do, as Mason mentioned, was starting a company in southern New England, CODA, which is a joint partnership of LDI and the Mohegan Tribe of Indians. This company is only about 2 years old, and we feel that eventually that will be, or our goal is, at any rate, to make that the largest dealer in the United States, and that's what we're really intending to do. There are many advantages to being in business with such a wonderful group of people who have the same goals and aspirations as we do, to grow this business into a sustained, long-term business. This is not a so-called, to use a sports analogy, one and done, you know, for just to build it up and then, you know, sell it to zero. So what our approach to the market is, as I can explain it best, is that we're a boutique type of service and technology delivery company. Mason mentioned 300 clients. Actually, I'll correct him, we have over 6,000 clients. But 300 plus. And also, just a shout out to the one Canon. About 300 of our clients are companies that have more than 20 different locations in the United States, each one of them. So the challenge that we've always had was in certain markets, as Mason mentioned, where we needed to manage the fleets for these companies. We had a very difficult time in providing the necessary service delivery and finding reliable partners, both on the pricing as well as on the service delivery side. And thanks so much to Toyo within the last year, and on the ground, Tracy Sokol, in putting together that, finally, you know, putting together for us, where we don't have to scramble and we have reliable partners. And that really comprises the essence of how we go to market. It's with an independent bent. We're not looking to bang any square pegs into round holes. What we do is consult with the client, understand what their applications are, what their needs are, and what we've learned from our approaches and our clients, and try and architect, if you will, the best solution for them.
Thank you, Jerry. LDI has made an aggressive and strategic push into vertical market growth. Speaking specifically to your company's expansion in legal, healthcare, and education, how is LDI preparing to continue that growth and meeting the evolving needs of these uniquely distinctive markets?
We've always had a vertical approach. As an example, our flagship is in Manhattan, in New York City. Unlike, again, most of our colleagues in the dealer community, we are not organized from a sales or marketing point of view by territories or by geography. We're organized by vertical markets, and we match subject matter experts, systems engineering, sales, and marketing to those various markets. Each of them unique, as all customers are unique, but there are obviously certain common threads that run through each of these vertical markets, and that is very much so the approach that we take.
Thank you. And finally, working off of question one, can you highlight some of the key elements of the solution that were created for Mr. Zimmerman's firm? How did LDI address the architect space, and how has the solution allowed the firm to increase its efficiency and streamline operations, both in workflow and production?
So I'll let Howard talk about his firm. It's very interesting, very unique, a very well-known firm in the greater New York metropolitan area, I guess, where there are probably more buildings than in any 30 states combined. In any event, though, it really does speak to the first two questions also. It's a very unique kind of approach, and I'll put it to you this way. So, since 1999, Howard was one of our earliest customers, and actually goes back to a different life that we had in the copier business. He's had and enjoyed, great growth, probably 5 or 6 times the size that he was, 15 years ago. But he's had the same sales executive, he's had the same subject matter experts, the same systems engineer, and also the same service technician. And each of those people are accessible to Howard if there's an emergency service call. Just like any other company, there are various ways to place that call, whether it's a help desk, whether it's via the web, via email, a telephone call, whatever. Our approach is you sign one person to one client, let them all know each other, the relevant people in each of those instances can call our service guy, and they do, or they can text him, and the service guy will get back to them within 20 minutes. That's a pledge that we give to all our clients, and determine the relevance and the need of the service call. Do we have to be there right away? Can it wait until tomorrow? Do we feel that we need a part or whatever? And that service guy will, have a better understanding than somebody at a help desk. As far as Howard's business is concerned, I'll give just a brief overview of that. He's in a very specialized business, and what we architected or designed for him runs through simple, copy, print, scan, send. But more than that, because of the nature of their business, they need high quality output for photographs and other relevant matter. They need wide format, and mostly what they need, because a lot of it is proposal business, is very detailed, integrated color management software as well, which would be, not something that every architect is desirous of. And last, but certainly not least, on the software side, is a way to bill back their clients. And that is key for him. The numbers really speak for themselves. The minimal investment has yielded has made a tremendous impact to their bottom line.
Howard?
I don't know what I'm doing here. He has many larger clients nationally, went through the alphabet, and everybody A through Y probably said no, and Z said yes. But the concept, I guess, is the same. We have been in business 35 years. The first 25, we grew to 20 people, and in the last 10 years, we've grown to 80 people, and we project to 100 in the next, by the end of 2018. With that said, as a business owner, I have constantly called in, my lawyers, accountants, IT people, insurance people, every vendor, and say, pitch me now that I'm a 40-person firm. Pitch me now that I'm a 60-person firm. You were with me when I was 10 people, and we're different. basically got rid of everybody along the way except LDI because they were able to grow with us in the technology, and the software and the hardware, where other vendors were not able to keep up with our pace of growth. Up until, recently, we had at every we're on 3 floors of one building, and we broke through the next building because we ran out of space, and broke through the next building and have an interconnected floor. We literally had clipboards with strings and a string on a ballpoint pen for everybody to fill out what client they were printing for. And, on 4 different floors, and we were only capturing, this is going back maybe 5 years, we were only capturing maybe $3,500 if we were lucky a month. We put in this accounting software where you had to code in the client account, and it went to about $10,000 a month, almost, if not instantly, within the first 2 months. That was just pure captured income that we never had before, and that alone was terrific. But we also have an accounting department now, and they were printing to a printer 2 floors down with seriously confidential payroll information. We had to send somebody downstairs to go pick things off the printer so other people wouldn't see what the other person was making, because it was left on the printers. Now we have, again, coded entries where, Mason could put to print, but he has to go release it down on whatever printer over 4 floors he wants to retrieve it. So we had no knowledge of it. Jerry's people came in, taught us about it, listened to what our needs were, stayed with the operation, actually saw things that, we accepted as day-to-day problems that we just had to deal with, but they actually saw the problems and provided solutions that bettered our lives and collected more money for us, which is always very good.
And would you say, you obviously are a well-read man, there's always new solutions coming out and everything. In reality, it's the practical application of it, and does it work, and does it get you, and LDI was able to produce that for you.
Well, over 30 years, Jerry has brainwashed me that nobody can do it better than me. So I really don't know, but really, it's been we talk about partnering, and I'm really not a believer in those. They're nice words in the business world. I'm a practical New York cynical type of business owner. But really, it has been a partnership with LDI in terms of helping us grow, providing technological solutions to better our business, produce better documents. We do have, before our logo, we changed our logo about 5 years ago with a very specific purple and white logo that we were, we're architects and very graphically sensitive. And once we decided that we were going to a color logo, we were very concerned that we have consistency amongst all our machines and our printed matter, that color, that purple color, register in the Pantone scale every time on every machine. And very early on in the process, we brought LDI's color people in to make sure. We brought our printer guy in, who, from the offset company, just to make sure, and did practice runs to assure that we could have a consistency, because we heard horror stories in other companies where reds were never reds, the green was sometimes blue, etc. We didn't want to have that problem. So we've had tremendous consistency and support from LDI.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Howard. We appreciate your visit.